everybody. We're back. Service Alliance Group morning grind. Joined with my special guest. You guys should know him by now. Phil Malinhow. I pointed the right direction. Right away, we're going to cover some rules here. I'm driving, so I'm going to be paying most of my attention this way. If you have comments, they're probably not going to be put up on the screen because I can't do that while I'm driving. Phil is going to do his best to read them and respond. We're going to do a special Ask Phil Anything. If you don't know Phil, he's going to introduce himself and let you know a little bit about what he does, where he's at, what kind of business he runs. If you got any questions, let him know. What's going on, Phil?
What's going on, guys? I'm Phil. I own Atomic Tech. I'm a multi-tech, multi-state, multi-shop service industry business. I do commercial and residential. Obviously, I focus on residential more than commercial. But I have about 11 years experience with Atomic Tech, 19 years total experience with the appliance repair and electronics repair. But I've been in the business for a while, and I have, branch locations, multiple techs in every shop. I understand.
I can't hear you. Are you talking?
No, you got loud. I think we got road noise from you. Can you hear me?
Hold on. I'm trying to fix my earpiece.
Gotcha.
Is that better?
I don't know if that noise is coming from me or you.
How about now?
Still noise.
Yeah, we can mute my mic.
Yeah, it was there. Yeah. So we can't hear you because you're muted, but he just had to mute his mic. A little bit of road noise. He's driving down the road. He's got to make sure he's focusing on the road. But like I was saying, I run a multi-tech business. So if you guys have any questions, I focus more on the larger scale versus the single technician side. I did start single tech and move my way up. But most of my business focus is on multi-tech locations. I do COD, third party, and warranty. I don't know how many people we have in here. And I'm trying to read through the comments. DJ's on the road. He has most control on it. So anybody having any questions, anything like that? Anybody having any issues with where they're at, need advice, help, open conversation to moving businesses forward?
Hey, Phil, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
So I was going to tell everybody one interesting thing about Phil is he focuses primarily on warranty, not only, but mostly warranty work. And he's proven to be pretty good at opening locations remotely and running them from the headquarters. So why don't you talk a little bit about that and see if we get any questions.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with that first question right there. My percentage residential, commercial. It sounds crazy, but I'm probably 95% residential, 5% commercial, but commercial makes up 20% of my revenue. So when I talk about doing only 5% of commercial and it makes up 20% of my revenue, that's a huge number. There's not a ton of commercial work out there. There's a ton of commercial work out there. There's a lot of guys doing it. I don't focus, on everything commercial. I focus on what's more within inside of what I do. Kind of leading into commercial schools. Schools is a good place for commercial because they have standalone refrigeration, which is what we all used to as appliance guys, versus coolers. I don't work on walk-in coolers, anything with split units, ice makers with split units, that's a unit on the roof or outside, unit on the inside. That's the stuff we avoid when it comes to commercial, but we still stick within what we can repair as a residential level, just on the commercial scale. It just pays more for the labor rates. And I forgot what EJ asked me.
What about commercial laundry, like big hotel washers and dryers? And the question I asked before was talking about why you do warranty over residential.
Gotcha. So, big washers and dryers. I've only worked on one. It was almost the exact same one I saw you post a picture of a while back, EJ. They all seem to be the same thing. And guys are afraid of commercial. Go ahead.
Hey, Philly.
Yeah.
We forgot to pray.
Oh,
We forgot to pray. You want to do it or you want me to?
I'm gonna let you lead into it.
All right. And then we'll get back to your answer. Sorry, guys. Lord Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the ability to come out and fellowship with your people. We love this opportunity with us to spread your love and peace and encouragement to the service industries. Lord, we ask you to remember all of us out on the road, keep us safe, keep the wheels on the ground, get us home safely. All those that are in the offices, the same, get them home safely as well. We ask that you be with each and every one of our interactions today, that even in the bad ones, that we can shine a light and spread positivity and love. That when people interact with us, they feel the love of you through us. Lord, we ask you to be with this message, that something gets shared that encourages or uplifts somebody out there and helps them to go on serving in their business in the community one more day. Thank you.
All righty. Good lead in there, EJ. It's always good. Hopefully, we bring some knowledge, take something away from somebody. And I like to start that too with what I do may not be what's good for you. Everybody's found what works for them. And I always like to tell people that too. Just because I said this is what I do doesn't mean it's going to work great for you. Because I was able to make it work great for me. My branches are private with a buying in franchise. The appliance world, most of us aren't millionaires. So people don't have huge capital to buy into a franchise. If you have that kind of money, I'm also going to recommend you go to Mr. Appliance and buy some of their zip codes. They've got a really great model down. But for what we do is we branch where the branch managers or owners have the ability to buy into the business and make them their own. And that's just kind of how I do it. There's a million different ways to do it, but that's where we're at with what we do. And my branch managers are in the group. Sometimes they hop in and chime in. Sometimes they don't. I don't want to dime them out just to say this is who they are. Let them do that if they want to. I wish I could click these comments and put them up on the screen for you, EJ. Best general advice. That's a good one right there. Sorry, I went over my percentages. The best general advice is do the absolute best you can for everybody. Treat every customer as a customer, not as a dollar sign. That's going to be your biggest moving forward. And that's why I see a lot of people, they kind of knock the people that do third party, the people that do warranty, because they're looking at the dollar signs and not the customers. I guarantee any customer will turn into a great customer and it'll make money if you treat them as a customer, not a dollar sign. Even your warranty, a lot of people, they don't like doing warranty because it pays kind of low end. But so if you're not chasing the dollars and you're chasing the customers and you're making customers happy, that's going to turn over tenfold tremendously. Warranties are only for a year. If they have an issue in that first year and they ended up not returning that appliance, you're the first thing they're going to see. And that's going to make their lasting impression for that unit if they ever have to call for warranty. If it broke in the first year, chances are it might break again. So understanding, what your general focus on, and that's my biggest piece of advice, is focus on the customer and do great work. Obviously, you still need to keep an eye on your bottom line. Don't ignore that completely because you'll go out of business if you're not paying attention to that. But if you pay attention and take care of those customers, it's going to turn over tremendously. You'll turn customers for life, and you'll make money on the further end later on down the road. Yeah, there's not many people online today.
What's the topic that's on the top of your mind this week that you think we need to talk about in the industry? What I found is the struggles that I face every day and every week, generally the same struggles that a lot of other people are facing as well.
So today, my top of my mind today is future growth. There's a standpoint, obviously, I talked about, kind of larger. I'm looking at future growth. So in doing that, I do a lot of business analysts. I actually had some numbers a minute ago on my phone. Looking at future projections. And this came from the Chamber of Commerce for Georgia. I'm in Georgia right now. So I went and I was looking at some of their numbers for the Chamber of Commerce for Georgia. And right now everyone's looking at, we're having issues with labor, right? We can't find techs. We're having trouble finding people to hire. Finding a hard time to find office staff. But when you look at what the nation's doing, the United States is doing, I can't really speak for some of the guys that are in Canada, where they're pushing forward. The labor industry is where they're at. You can see the college is a big fight right now when we talk about politics. Who's paying for college? Is college going to be a thing? How many kids are going to college now? What are those kids doing in college? We all know that trades are going to run the world. More people are not doing trades ever. So if you look at where the government's pushing money right now, the government's looking at dumping money into trades, trade schools, getting people into the workforce that need it. So today, my mental focus on, recently is where we're going to be at in a few years. And just looking at Georgia right now in Georgia, I'm using Georgia's numbers because I have it in front of me, and they pretty much align with Ohio, which is where one of my other shops are. South Carolina, they're pretty close. They're off by 1 or 2%. So I would say it's pretty safe to say in my regions, the numbers are about the same. And this is, stretching from Ohio to Georgia over to the East Coast. Right now, we're looking at about 20% of the workforce is in construction and trades. And they're estimating by 2027 to 2030, we're going to have 40 to 45% in the construction and skilled trade industry. That tells us if you guys can hold on, start getting your programs together now, a training system in place, get ready for it, because that's where you're going to grow. We all see where the economy is going. Things are getting more expensive. Before long, people aren't going to be able to afford to buy a new refrigerator because it stopped cooling. Sealed system guys, you're going to start seeing a lot more work. Replacing washing because it's doing something you're not happy with. You're going to start seeing less people replacing washers, more repairs being done. Right now, business owners and appliance repair techs are in a great footing. Right now, we're in the struggle phase. We're trying to get work. Most of us are seeing increase in our business, starting to see revenue pick up. That's only going to continue. It's only going to continue to grow for the next, 5 to 10 years. We're going to see it grow even past that. But in the next, going into 2027 to 2030, which, it's hard to think 8 years ahead, but your business can be tenfold to where you are today. But knowing that, looking those projections forward, putting yourself in a place now to go, well, what am I going to do next year? What am I going to do in 2 years, 5 years, and then 10 years? If you're ready for this, this is how you're going to really grow. And that's where I'm at. DJ was asking where I'm at mindset wise. I'm more of a big scale thinker about expansion and how am I going to grow? What's going to be good? Looking at my future market, because I don't want to invest a bunch of money into something that I'm going to lose money on. Going down some of the Facebook group comments. Go ahead, EJ.
Amen, man. I love it. You got to always be looking ahead, see where you're going to go in the next step. Otherwise, you just walk in the dark. We talk about that a lot. We do have a question here. Right after I ask a question, if everybody else has 3 more questions. Go ahead and read that one on the screen.
Okay. From Facebook user. By the way, if it says Facebook user, that means someone hasn't clicked that StreamYard link and given permission. If you guys hit that StreamYard link, give permission, it'll show your name there so we can say, hey, this is from so-and-so, instead of saying Facebook user says. Good morning, guys. Phil, what's your process for parts with your remote branches? So without giving away my entire business strategy, which I have no problems doing if you guys ever want to have an in-depth conversation about what I do for business, I don't care to share. There's plenty of work for everybody. I have a parts person in every branch, and then we have a parts manager overall for the whole company. We track all parts in and out. And this is another shameless plug. You guys know I'm the CDA plug guy. They don't pay me to say it, but CDA has an amazing tracking system for parts. So all of our parts are tracked to the point where CDA basically gives it its own tracking number, which is an individual serial number for the parts. So every part that ever comes into the building is assigned a tracking number. So if, let's say, a tech just takes all of his truck stock out, puts in the bin, set in the shop on a Friday night, goes out partying, decides he's not coming back to work Monday. Now I have a bin of parts. I don't know what they are. All of my parts are serial numbered. I can track each part individually, where it's been, where it's going, what claim it belongs to, what we paid for it, where it came from. I even attached an invoice to where we bought it from. So if I bought it from Marcona and Compass, it'll even attach the invoice that I paid for it, how much we paid for it, so we know how much we're into that part, etc. But from a larger scale, the biggest concern when it comes to parts are returns, right? What are we doing with parts that aren't used? What are we doing with parts that are defective? I do have one primary parts person, it's actually two, that takes care of all the part returns, and they track them to make sure that we're not losing money on parts. Having a good system in place is crazy important for that. We're just lucky that our CRM does a lot of it for us, and it helps us track. It even tells us if we have a part that's going stale that needs returned, that hasn't been built out or used. It even gives us an alert, you didn't build this part out. Hopefully that answered what you were looking for what I was looking for remote branches. Have you had many problems with bad reviews because of third-party company passing the blame to you or them misleading a customer? We've had it, but I'm not going to say many. We've been doing it for third parties and warranties for over 10 years. I can count maybe 4 times where I've got a bad review because of it. And it's almost always the Better Business Bureau. They rarely leave it on Google or Facebook. Occasionally they will. The good thing with Google and Facebook, they are public. So as long as you go back in there and you professionally respond to that review and say, hey, unfortunately, I understand your frustration. This is, the process of your warranty company. Unfortunately, we couldn't, go outside of what they wanted to do. But a lot of times, if you're communicating with your customers, you're never going to have that issue. We let the customers know right up front what is what. So when we say, them blaming something, normally that's the delay, right? The third party warranty, home warranty wants to delay a customer 90 days. Well, we call the customer every week and say, hey, we're just letting you know we don't have any update from your warranty company. If you have any questions, definitely ask them. Normally, when we advocate for the customer and they know we're on their side, it normally alleviates all of that. We don't have any issues with them blaming us. I mean, it does happen. We've had, a couple instances where they left us a bad review because of it, but it almost always resolves itself and they understand, like, hey, we're doing the best we can for them. Most times they start out with, hey, I'm not frustrated with you, I'm frustrated with the warranty company. And they come to us before they even review, ask if there's anything we can do to help them. And Bob asked, what's your percentage of warranty versus COD? My percentage of warranty versus COD is about 60-40 split, maybe 70-30. I don't have an exact number, it varies. But we're running about 30% COD. And about 70% warranty and third party. And it varies. Sometimes our CODs pick up tremendously. Sometimes the warranties pick up tremendously. But when I look at what I can do, granted, this is a perfect world system. If I can take on more of either one, I can bring on more techs. If you get your numbers right, your bottom line, granted, I'm not a one-man shop, so that's where my way of thinking varies from a one-man shop. We're a multi-branch, multi-technician company. If I get to a point where I can't handle one workload or the other, I hire more techs instead of alleviate the other. As long as I'm getting paid my bottom line number and above it, if I make it, and it's going to sound weird to say it, if I make $1, I made a profit of $1. Obviously, I don't do anything for $1 profit, but when it comes to my percentage of warranty versus COD, it's not as a concern to me to do more of one than the other. The concern to me is doing as much as I can across the board. If I run 40 CODs, I might be able to run 80 third-party warranties. I ran 120 calls. If I just got rid of that, I might be able to pick up my CODs to 60 for the week instead of 40, in which case I lost 60 warranty call potentials. If I get to a point where I don't have the ability, we try to bring on another tech to alleviate our volume. We try not to turn down work unless we won't make money on it. I don't know if that answered what you're looking for, Bob. We lost EJ. He's running down the road. Let me see if he messaged me. Now, is there anybody in here looking to grow into maybe a single man shop now, and they're wanting to branch out into a bigger shop? They're just don't know how to take that first step. I mean, anybody here that's in that situation? And I'll just ramble on if nobody has any questions. There we go. All right, so I won't go into full detail about my compensation policies, just because I don't want all of it to be completely public. But all of my guys do make they make salary plus commission. Basically, in short, I tell my guys, this is your baseline salary. You'll never make less than this dollar amount, and it's a salary. But if you are a great technician, you studied, you work hard, you keep up with your trade, you keep up with your craft, you have the ability to make beyond your base pay scale, and that's when the commission comes into play. And most of them make positive commission. Most people that are afraid of commission are afraid of not making any money. So in order for my guys to make money, make sure that they're willing to make money, give them their baseline and their commission. Most of them push really hard to maximize their pay. We do have to create a little bit more admin work because we sit down with them every other week and discuss all of their numbers, where they're at, their growth, where they were 2 weeks ago, this 2 weeks, and the next 2 weeks where we're growing to. But it's really good to see the guys and go over the numbers with them all. It's huge. It's our trucks, our phones. They are not 1099. All of my employees are W-2 employees. All of them are, we have all of them insured and everything through us, uniform, background checked. We cover everything. We cover specialty tools. If a tool is more than $40, we cover it. Voltmeters, amp meters, impact wrenches, large sockets, specialty tools. We cover everything. The only thing we want them to keep track of is their personal drill and personal like screwdrivers and stuff and bits in case they lose them. George, mine's the exact opposite. At one time, I had 7 trucks on the road. Now I'm just down to a one-man operation. I'm loving it. And that everybody does what they love. I definitely can emphasize me there. There are days when I go, man, it'd be so much better if I wasn't in a truck by myself again. Part of it is I'm looking to my future. I was in the Army and I got hurt pretty bad, so I'm a disabled veteran. So right now I'm able to continue working, but I think I'm going to end up retiring at an early age when I can't physically do it anymore. So that was one of my big pushes to get to where I am today, to make sure that I can continue my income well past the point where I'm physically able to keep continuing on with this. So I wanted to make sure that I had a process in place to take care of family and kids. And it turned into a pretty large growth. It was starting to protect the assets and make sure we were able to keep moving forward. But I definitely understand everybody who understands multi-tech and single tech. It's multi-tech could be a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of hours. But it's definitely rewarding multi and even single techs. You guys all know on the same balance where you can go from each side of it. It's rewarding on both aspects, multi-techs and one-man shows. One-man shows can have that same amount of stress. I don't want to make it sound like only multi-tech lines have the stress. One man's have a ton of it. Hey, I'd go back to the Army if they let me. So appreciate y'all. So then I saw David said yes. I think you were answering the question. I said, anybody looking to go from a one-man show into a multi-line tech? Are there any challenges you're facing, David, with trying to push into a multi-tech business? So how do I balance my work-life balance for my employees? That's actually listed in my benefit sheet when you apply for us. Everybody always, when they ask you what's your benefit, I tell everybody my benefit is we're on Monday through Friday. 8 to 5-ish business, and we're off on nights and weekends. We don't run any additional service calls on weekends or nights unless somebody's really, really dire emergency. And being residential appliances, we don't see any dire emergencies. I don't know if I read that out loud. Paul asked, how do you balance work-life balance for your employees? But in doing that, I try to keep my employees off on nights and weekends. And we really push family operation. I tell everybody Saturdays for the family and Sundays for God. So we always try to make sure Saturdays, all the employees have the ability to spend time with their family, and Sundays they're able to worship. And then nights, if you have kids, helping with homework, family dinner at night. We definitely don't overwork the techs. We do have techs that ask to work on Saturdays or ask to work extra calls at night to help them with, increase commission. We'll definitely allow it to happen. We'll schedule it for them, but it's at their request, never ours. And then David said he was replying to the question earlier about going from a single to a multi. He's having issues with hiring. I know it's kind of a one word, so I'm going to try to read into a little bit more of that. It depends on what you're doing, David. If you're looking to move into an office role and bring in techs, hiring is definitely tough. I can tell you it's really hard to find somebody who knows what they're doing. You're going to have to be willing and ready to train somebody, almost like an apprenticeship. Put some money aside, ready to pay them because you're not going to be making money off them for a few months. But training the tech first, if you're looking to move into an office role, or if you're looking to have somebody help you out, if you're just overwhelmed, you can't answer the phone calls, you can increase your productivity in the home by getting your office staff without throwing huge numbers across the board. I boiled into when I hired my first office staff at how much is it going to cost me to have somebody answer the phone and do my scheduling for me. I looked at my numbers and I found if I ran one extra service call a day, it paid for twice the salary of a full-time office staff. So I was like, well, you know what? I want to save money only on half time. I went on, dove straight in. I ran one extra service call a day, brought in an office staff. They did all the scheduling, and it actually made me more efficient as a technician to hand over that responsibility. So I wasn't trying to, between service calls, schedule calls, call customers back. That was my very first step when I did it. I first went from a single one-man show to hiring office staff to schedule my calls. Then she was doing such a great job. I said, I need to give her some more work. So we hired another service tech who I trained, and then she was able to schedule 2 calls, and then that moved into one office staff for 3 techs. And then we hired a 4th tech, and the office staff said, I need help now. So then we hired, a billing person, and that was kind of how our growth went. We filled the need for what we had the availability to. And that's exactly how we went from 1 man to 5 in 1 year. It's actually 8 months. We went from 1 man to 5 people in 8 months, and that was our growth pattern, just to make sure we looked at what was maximizing the cost. And then Bob asked, can you describe the process you went through when you started your second branch? That sounds like a big change to go through. I'm going to probably say the most scary thing anybody's ever heard, and I say that line a lot. I really just went for it. I saw the opportunity and I seized it. I always do market research. I know what's a need in what areas. I look at who the competitors are. I look at the reviews. I look at what they service, how they service, and I look at, is there a need for me in that region when I went through my branch? And I basically said, well, what happens if I lose $100,000, right? It's a scary thing to say, but that's the absolute worst thing that's going to happen. I say the absolute worst is you're going to lose the money. Your reputation can falter, but you can always make sure you set a precedence, make sure your reputation stays solid. But the process I went through when I started my branch was I got lucky. My second branch, I had a husband and wife combo that was some friends in my hometown. They were looking to make a change. Husband was the perfect work order to be a great tech. Wife was a perfect work order to be an office manager. So what I pulled them both on, gave them a branch. I funded the whole thing. And they're in the process now of buying the branch off me as a franchise location. That was the short-term process, Bob. You and you want to have a lengthy hour-long conversation, I can definitely help you out with that, talk to you about second branch. It is very scary. It's terrifying when you say, well, the worst that happens, I'm going to lose lose a ton of money. But you hear it 1,000 times. No risk, no reward. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. That was a huge risk for me to take, and it's been extremely rewarding for me, for the business and financially.
Hey, Phil, I'm back.
Hey, buddy, welcome back.
It's time for me to depart, and I have to close the thing down. Thank you so much for coming on and filling the air while I was driving. Sorry, I disappeared on you a little bit.
It happens.
Still in the background. Thank you guys for bringing questions. You want to know more about Phil, just reach out to him on Facebook Messenger. He's literally an open book. I've asked several questions. He's just willing to help anybody. But with that, we're going to sign off and see everybody on tomorrow.
I appreciate y'all. Thanks, EJ. Thanks for letting me come on and just yammer.
We appreciate it. See you guys.
All right, y'all. Appreciate you.